I wasn't gonna bring him up because we've talked about him so many times in our past interview, but unfortunately, the situation has forced me into this place right
It hasn't
now.
forced you, but I see where you're going.
So you went on Twitter and you said, "Kweli taught me the most about being an artist." Know who said that? Kanye West.
That was actually a response to someone who was doubting my credentials. That particular tweet. Yeah, but sometimes you got to remind these people out here.
Well, before we get into the rest of it, explain that statement.
Okay, well that statement comes from a series of tweets. First of all, let me say this. I pray for Kanye West right now for whatever he's going through. He seems to be going through something that is very personal, and he seems to be going through something that's deeper than what any of us could talk about on any of these blogs, websites. He's a lightning rod. He's a trendsetter. He's one of the most important cultural figures that we've ever seen in terms of our culture of hip hop music. Because of that, he's earned a degree of our respect and a level of our admiration that should never be taken away. But Kanye, you know, he's to me, from my perspective, he's isolated himself from certain aspects of his life. When I see him tweet, you know, I'm turning my phone off, and it's not, you know, he's not someone who is easy for me to get in touch with. And I'm speaking personally because there might be people who can get in touch with him very easily. That's not something that bothers me because there's people who I love from the bottom of my heart that might have a hard time getting in touch with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because how I move. I understand the artist's mind. I understand how you get into a creative space and you're not answering no phone calls except from people who you need to speak to right now. You know, so I get that. I don't take that no way. But when I see my brother who I love in a public space, reaching out to people, telling people to call him, and when I see him uplifting Trump, which is, let's make no mistake, because we don't have the luxury to mince words at this point. Trump is a fascist, bruh. He's not just a racist. He's a violent racist. He's a xenophobe. He's a homophobe. He hates women. And he's a fascist. We've seen what fascism does to the world. We can't afford to coddle anyone who enables or uplifts that, no matter how much I love them. I love Kanye West to death. You know, I love Kanye West to death. But because he spoke in a public space and uplifted Trump, I feel like because I'm someone who he has also said publicly that he respects, I have a unique position to be able to say something in a way that maybe he can hear it in a way that he won't hear it from other people. But that's not the wave. That's not it. Uplifting Trump, all that other stuff, Zuckerberg, Jay-Z, you know, Drake, they're grown men. I don't care what he says about these other people. When he uplifts Trump, he's speaking, he's harming and really hurting. He's hurting us. Not in an abstract, but he's really hurting us on a literal level because there are groups that are going to be marginalized from a Trump's presidency that we've already seen 700, 800 incidents in the last couple of weeks of hate crimes going up. Jewish people, Muslims, women, gay people, anyone who's not a straight white man with a little bit of money is going to be marginalized in Trump's America. I think that Kanye is a genius and he's an icon and he recognizes other geniuses and icons. I agree with him when he says Walt Disney's a genius. Walt Disney had some Nazi shit going on too, but he was on some genius level shit. You know, I agree with him when he says Steve Jobs is a genius. Donald Trump is not a genius. Donald Trump is an icon, but he's not a genius. Donald Trump is a very stupid man. He's not a smart man. He is a spoiled brat. He was coddled. He's very fragile individual. He might be the most spoiled, fragile, rich white dude on the planet. He's the poster boy for rich white fragility. And, you know, I think that's part of the reason why he won the election. He's shrewd, but shrewdness should not be confused with intellect. You know, someone who's a charlatan should not be confused with someone who's preaching the gospel at all. And I think that any uplifting of Donald Trump is dangerous. People will come automatically. I already know what your comment section is going to say. Kweli, you a black supremacist, and he can have his own thoughts, and you just think all black people should think the same, and Hillary's just as bad, and that's all bullshit. Hillary Clinton is by far not a perfect candidate at all. But the fact of the matter is, because of the electoral college, because of the two-party system, we have only two choices. We should be able to have more than one. Like Bernie Sanders should have been able to run against Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like Jill Stein and Gary Johnson should have been able to get into debates. If you have a problem with that, combat that. But until then, you got to deal with the realities of where we are now. The world is where it's at now. It's not where you want it to be. So where you at now, you had two choices. You had a candidate who said, had racist language and talked about gang members who people assume would be black as super predators. But she didn't apologize for that. You had a candidate who mentor was Robert Byrd, a KKK member when he was a younger man. But he also denounced the KKK and apologized and worked with civil rights organizations. And he became her mentor after he did all this. So you have these right-wing talking points being put out by these white supremacist blogs to have people think that Hillary Clinton is just as evil as Donald Trump. This is a false equivalency. Hillary Clinton had criminal justice reform in her campaign. Hillary Clinton stated Black Lives Matter and says she supports them. She supported gay rights. She supported women's rights. Did she have a problem in Haiti? Yeah, the Clinton Foundation has a lot of things to answer for in Haiti, just like Trump had a lot of things to answer for with child rape and Trump University, which he just settled for $25 million, even though he said he never settles. So yeah, these rich, powerful white people have a lot of privilege and have a lot of nonsense that they got to answer for. But to act like this woman was just as evil as this fascist, nah, bro, you telling lies if you say that.
Well, on Twitter, you said the same way you want Jay to reach out to you, Kanye, you should reach out to real dudes because someone ain't keeping it real with you, fam.
I didn't say dudes, but I get your point.
Yeah. Well, yeah. you know why I changed my life.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I said that because I said that because I meant it, man. Like, that's what gave me the carte blanche to even send them tweets. The fact that you publicly asking another man to reach out to you, if you feel like it's okay to publicly ask someone to reach out to you that you feel like should be reaching out to you, that you feel like that you should have his number, then I feel like I could say that publicly too. You know what I'm saying? And it's no love loss. I ain't got no beef. I ain't met Kanye's kids either. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no. That's not what it is at all. My whole thing is like the people. Like I said in my tweets, the people are gonna ride with. I ride with Kanye. I ride with Kanye. Like I'm not out here. I'm not joining the Kanye West over party. Fuck that. Kanye West is very important to the culture. I feel like he's making a mistake right now, but just because the man makes a mistake, he's giving us far too much, and people might be mad at me for that. But Kanye West has earned my respect in ways that whoever's gonna get mad at me for saying none of y'all have earned my respect. I don't know none of y'all. You know what I'm saying? I know Kanye West. I know what he brings to the culture. I know what he's brought to the culture, and him saying he supports Donald Trump doesn't dismiss all of that stuff. It just means that we need to have a real conversation about whether or not going forward, you are going to continue to represent the people. As much as we could speculate, because none of us know. As much as we could speculate what's going on with Kanye West, the facts on the ground right now, that's more important than how I feel about Donald Trump. Like, fuck how I feel about Donald Trump. I'm really concerned about what's going on with Kanye West, the man, and make sure he's okay as a person. The things I'm hearing are alarming about hospital and all that. And fuck politics. You know, is he okay? That's what's really, really, truly important at this moment.
Well, I mean, you've been around Kanye a lot at a certain point in your career, and you know, I've interviewed him before and met him here and there. But we actually had put up an article back in April with Malik Yusuf, who I guess is really close to Kanye. And he said that Kanye is bipolar and schizophrenic and doesn't take his medication. I've been, for example, a very close friend of mine, Disco D, was bipolar, ended up killing himself. I don't know if you ever met him or not, but really, really close friend of mine, ended up hanging himself. The time that you spent with Kanye, do you agree? Do you think that he might be bipolar and schizophrenic?
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't be with all that speaking on people health problems and issues that I don't know about, or that the public don't know about. And I love Malik Youssef. You know what I'm saying? And there's been a lot of people in Kanye camp who have spoken on him. Like Kid Cudi, and then he let him back in the camp because he got love for these brothers. Like, brothers gonna fight, brothers gonna argue. But I don't be with all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't be with all that, like, talking about his health issues. Like, I saw some shit on TMZ that he was hospitalized, so I'm concerned. Whether or not he's bipolar, that's none of my business. I'm not his family member, and it's not my place to speak on that. I spoke on the Trump thing because I feel like that's deep. I feel like we're facing a real issue of fascism and xenophobia in our country. And I don't like to see my brothers get caught up in not really doing the knowledge on what that is. And I feel obligated to speak on that. But as far as his personal, whatever health or mental thing he's going through, that's his business. And when he decides that he wants to share it, at that point, we have the license to speak on it. But I don't be with all that people speaking about. That's family.